Cinema Classics. I'm Johnny DiLoretto.
I'm John DeSando.
We just talked about Denis Villeneuve.
He's a French-Canadian.
Yeah.
Coming with a whole lot of kind of Euro vibe about him. What kind of films has he done? Because really, he's only 50 years old. Why should he be on Cinema Classics?
I don't know. I guess that's because you add our ages up, and that's the average. Obviously, this guy's been around for a while. He's been working for a while, but he has slowly ascended to the A-list. He's an A-list director, based on the strength of actually a couple of those mid-range, those mid-level B-type, lower-budget movies. They're not quite indie movies, you know what I mean? It's not Greta Gerwig kicking around New York City streets and getting...
But you're not talking about his recent movie, Blade Runner.
I'm talking about Prisoners.
Yes.
Enemy. We didn't talk about that one, Enemy.
No, we didn't. Yeah, right.
Prisoners, Enemy, Sicario.
Sicario, yeah.
Those three movies, what he does with a small budget, the tension he can elicit from certain situations, whether they are dramatic or they're action sequences, he's got a smart, taut approach that's really effective.
And you mentioned on our NPR show the fact that he takes his time, certainly with his most recent ones, with Blade Runner 2049 and with Arrival. He takes a kind of languor about him that's really enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that you're mentioning, like Prisoner, Enemy, and even Pyrotechnic, the first one that I know that he did, there's more of a frenetic pace to it, I thought.
You've seen this Pyrotechnic?
No, I haven't. So I'm guessing because it's about the Montreal Massacre of 1989 that it's probably frenetic.
Yeah.
But it's probably violent based,
mm-hmm.
even though he hates violence.
That's what he says.
No, he likes the impact of violence.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like violence itself. But for your thesis about him early on, we do see still a hallmark of his willingness to take time with characterization and with events. And do you find that in Arrival?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I can tell how much you like Arrival.
Well, Arrival for me is I guess I kept expecting some revelation about language that never arrives.
That's what it's about, yeah.
It is, ostensibly it's about language, and I don't know if I missed what he was getting at, but that part of it doesn't pay off for me.
Okay, now let me just interject here.
Yeah.
Contrasting that with Spielberg in
Close Encounters.
Close Encounters.
Yeah.
Where you do have language,
a much
with
better
music.
film.
Yeah. Why?
Well, because Spielberg doesn't get bogged down in trying to be clever and trying to give you a twist or there's this nonsense in Arrival that this may or may not be happening.
Oh, right. Yes, you're right.
And I'm so tired of that crap. Can we just stop that crap? Tell a story. Tell a story, and then don't try to tell us after you've told it that you didn't tell it.
Yes.
That is a tiresome cliche that a lot of filmmakers fall prey to these days. We don't need we're done with the twists.
Yeah.
Tell a straightforward story. What is powerful about Close Encounters of the Third Kind is that you watch this guy, this character, Richard Dreyfuss, sort of, he's obsessed for a reason he doesn't know what. He doesn't know what's happening to himself, which is an interesting, dramatic tension that plays out. He keeps following this obsession. Eventually it pays off. The musical language with the aliens that they exchange. That's a brilliant concept. Music as the universal language. Now this one, Arrival, plays with these circular sort of designs, these Rorschach-looking.
Yeah, very good.
And that's cool, but it doesn't pay off in that same sort of way that the music, those few notes.
There's no clear denouement in Arrival. It just seems to kind of bleed out till there's nothing left. Whereas with Spielberg, you have a feel that you have had an experience, that you've actually had an encounter.
And it's interesting that film ends with Richard Dreyfuss getting on the ship right?
Oh, I forgot.
Spielberg has
That's
always
right,
said
it does.
Spielberg has said that he regrets that moment as a father
Oh, yes.
because
He leaves.
Richard Dreyfuss really just abandons his
Yes.
family for this
Good.
experience.
Great.
And now I would hate for him to ever change that because that's what gives the movie that awkward tension. You know, is that here's a guy who's a loving father, and yet when faced with probably, you know, the most historic human experience of all time, he chooses that.
Yeah.
And again, it leaves us with a tension we can't forget.
Yeah, and I agree. Do not change that, Spielberg. Do not change that because we didn't expect it to happen.
Yeah.
Because where sometimes we expect in that E.T.-like Spielberg world where things are going to be nice and family's going to be, you're going to find family, you're going to go back home and all this stuff.
Yeah.
In that one,
Yeah,
the guy
not
takes
bad.
off and uses it back. How can
Right.
you do that?
Yeah.
Even the director says, how can you do that? But how wonderful a twist, whereas you don't have anything like that in Arrival.
No.
And even though I like the film, it's way, way too using.
I don't know why people don't go back and, like, when they have a movie that doesn't quite... Well, look, Arrival was really well reviewed. It was a big hit.
Yes.
Probably everybody looks at it as a perfect film, so there's no way that, you know, Villeneuve would ever consider doing this. But why don't filmmakers go back and fix their movies? I know there's this thing where they go back on DVD, and there's
Yeah,
the
right. They have
director's
an
cut.
editor's right.
But,
Edit.
you know what would be interesting is for a filmmaker to invest in fixing films or going back and revisiting them in a way. I don't know. That's a half-formed thought, but
Well, I like our comparison with Spielberg, and I'm even thinking in Sicario where you have that idealistic FBI agent who's a woman.
yeah,
I really love the way she takes over, but yet she is Greta Gerwig like mystified by the depths of depredation in this narcotics world.
Yeah.
Well done. That so he has depths. He's not yet Spielberg. I
right.
think we could have agreed on that one. But boy, he's moving forward. I think he did a good job with Blade Runner, and I think he has promise. But I mean, really, he's a filmmaker with only a few in his bag.
Yeah, he's waiting for that. I think that we've yet to see what he can do, and I think if he lets go of this urge to do the twisty thing or the just overly let me overly complicate something. Now,
Yes.
That's one of Blade Runner's strengths. Is he doesn't do that.
Yeah.
You know, there is a slight little twist there, I guess, but it's clean.
Yes. Are we ever certain whether Harrison Ford is a cyborg or not?
Oh, I'm pretty sure that he is.
Okay, but
think
it's not.
That's not what I'm talking about. The twist is in that movie that Ryan Gosling thinks he is the child of this historic procreation between androids.
Yes.
And he turns out not to be.
Yeah. All right. Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah.
May he live on after cinema classics.
Let's,
Tell him.
I hope we're not around that long.